They got new. Is this new green screens? What are we doing? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, everybody. Everybody. The background, it sure is. My goodness. Whomst is responsible for the background? We have to have a talk. Joanna Whaley is from the great state of Michigan. She is running for the Michigan House District 2. Okay, Joanna, we have to wait for the second moderator to join us before I can let you up. So if you just hold tight. Just hold tight. We're coming. We are coming. I see you. I'm waiting for my co-host, Joni. But while you're in the chat, Joanna, if you could share the live with your followers, as well as repost it and share it to your story so we can let the people know that you're here with us and that you're doing this town hall. I'm going to take my own advice and I'm going to share the live. Just going to share it out to a bunch of people. Let all the cool kids and the wannabes know that we are here interviewing a candidate for office and that they need to get in here and listen to the message.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Joni.
I love the yellow.
Thank you. I'm starting to be able to fit things that are in the back of my closet, so.
That's a good feeling. I need to get to that feeling.
It's been a while since I've worn this. I'm like, oh, it fits. Praise God. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Joanna up. Joanna, hello.
Hello, friends.
Are you,
Why is my camera not working?
I was just going to say, were you provided with a background to use for the town hall?
Oh wait, hold on. Is this? There we go.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
That picture you all have there is quite a saucy picture of me. Wow.
You're like, wait a minute. Maybe I want to use that one more often.
Maybe that should be my headshot. Yeah. My goodness.
All artwork is provided by the candidate, by the way.
I don't think I provided that one, but hey, that's fine.
Listen, maybe that came from your website, or
yeah, I don't know.
You don't remember taking that picture?
That's from Halloween. Hey, that's fine.
It's a gorgeous photo. It's gorgeous.
Already. Yes, thank you.
Who are we? Oh, Joni. Are you
Yes,
looking for your picture, your background?
no, my questions. I emailed it to myself and it did not come up.
Well, I'll give you a minute and I'll just remind everybody who's in the room with us this evening. It's a TikTok Town Hall Live. If you're in the chat, please do share this live with your followers and let them know that we are interviewing a candidate. We're doing a Q&A with a candidate for office this evening, and she is from the great state of Michigan. She is running for the Michigan House out of District 2, which is, according to my notes, south of Detroit.
Yes.
There's a south of Detroit? Is that like the song, Born and Raised in South Detroit?
Song? That's where we are. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So share out the live. Also, send your daily heart me if you haven't already. I know we were in here earlier. We had an earlier town hall. This is the second of our double header this evening. So if you haven't sent out your daily heart me, do that for us. Do that for the channel. Support the channel by liking the live and sending your daily heart me and sharing it out. Also, if you are able to repost it for us. Again, we're trying to get as many people in here as possible to listen to Joanna. It's Joanna, right? It's not Joanna.
Yeah.
Okay, Joanna. To listen to Joanna, share her platform, get roasted like a marshmallow, a chestnut on the open fire. No pressure. To share her message for the people of the state of Michigan and to answer your questions. If you're in the chat, you can ask questions in the chat for Joanna, or you can hit the multi-guest button, those two little people, the two little people icon you see at the bottom of the screen. You can hit that and you can request up and ask the questions yourself. Again, if you're in the chat, please do like the live, share it out. Also, be respectful. We're not a debating kind of town hall. We're not contentious. We're here to listen, share ideas, and like our motto says, to present candidates of integrity. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. You recognize my beautiful face if you've been here. If you haven't, my name is Ayana, and I'm hosting with Joni. Hello, tonight. And we are here with Joanna Whaley, who is from the state of Michigan. She is running for House District 2, which is south of Detroit. Welcome to Our Vote Counts TikTok Town Hall Live. We do this several times a week. We are old hat at this. However, I will send out some reminders. TikTok does not like certain words. So if you come up to ask questions or you're in the chat, remember to be kind with your words. Remember, this used to be a singing and dancing app. And so if you're not singing or dancing, you have to be very polite. Mm-hmm. So use the code words AB for that one medical procedure. And, you'll figure it out. You'll figure pew pew for the thingy and you get it. You get it. Yes. So welcome tonight to Our Vote Counts Town Hall. Our Vote Counts is a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity, and ensure every voice is heard. Through education, outreach, accountability, and action, we're building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. Thank you for joining us. Remember, your vote is your power. Tonight, as I said, we're joined by Joanna Whaley, who's a candidate for Michigan's House of Representatives in District 2. We'll be talking about her background, her vision for the district, and of course, taking your questions. And we're doing it all live. Joanna is a lifelong Southeast Michigan resident and a candidate, again, for Michigan House of Representatives. I'm going to keep repeating that. She wants to represent Allen Park, Lincoln Park, Melvindale, and parts of Southgate. She has spent her career serving others as a clinical spiritual care provider in local hospitals, supporting people and families during their most difficult moments. Joanna, for those meeting you for the first time, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running for the Michigan House of Representatives.
Yes, well, I don't think we'll have enough time for the entire reason. But a little bit of my background. Thank you for that intro and for everyone that's here. Yeah, a little bit of my background. I am a trans woman running for the Michigan House, and before I came out, I was an evangelical pastor, and so you can imagine kind of the chaos that ensued in my world, in my life, in my process of coming out, being myself, and from that day, from the day I came out to now, I've been doing LGBTQ rights advocacy within religion. It's a very niche space within, the world. But over the years, this has slowly just snowballed into the need to create public policy to protect people. And so I am running because, one, I believe that my district has really been underrepresented for a long time. It's had absent leadership in certain ways. But also, we are not living in normal times. And so it is time that we have leaders who understand how to lead through the mess. And I have done that in my life. I have led through the mess, and I have helped many others across the country, even across the world, lead out of their own messes and systemically working within spaces that are hostile to certain groups of people. I have been an active member of doing that. And so it has become a very natural move for me to start stepping into creating public policy to represent the people of my district who there are many marginalized people in my communities who are asking for the basic things that they have not been getting, and they have not been represented by people who show up. And so that's why I'm running.
Now, Joanna, can you describe yourself in a very interesting way on your website? When you say that you were an evangelical pastor, how did you describe yourself? Because when I read it, I was like, wow.
Yeah, so I worked for the largest mega churches in America. I worked at the biggest church in the U.S., about 100,000 people a weekend. The main location was out of Oklahoma City, and I worked at all the big mega churches in the state of Michigan. I would say that I was a known name in the evangelical space in the state of Michigan. I pastored churches of thousands and huge churches leading, immense teams of volunteers, and was really trained as a Christian nationalist by many of the spaces that I operated in, which brings a unique perspective into where I am now because as a progressive candidate, and the evolution from being in a Christian nationalist background to being the most progressive candidate in my race is a wild one. And
right. I'm in awe. I am in awe. I really am because so your transition, did you get into politics first before you started transitioning, or you transitioned and then you were like, okay, now politics?
No, as I said, I kind of, I began advocating for people. When I first came out, I was outed by someone in my congregation. So it was not on my terms. I was forced out of the closet. And it was from that moment that I began to experience the weight of how people are against the LGBTQ community within the spaces I operated in my whole life. So what I started doing was doing LGBTQ rights advocacy, transgender rights advocacy within religion. And I did that all over the country, working with hundreds of people, helping them come out of the closet and also hold their faith in spiritual systems in the process of doing that, or reframing them altogether. So it started out of a space of advocacy. And it all went into politics when I got invited to speak at one of our protest rallies in the Detroit area. I spoke in front of crowd of a couple thousand. And when I got off the stage, people started grabbing me like, you need to run for something. I'm like, no, thanks. Not on my bingo card. No, thank you. And that just began to snowball from there.
All right, that's awesome. So I don't know if that's, is that me with that nasty echo?
I don't hear it.
Oh, okay. So we're going to get started with an icebreaker. If you had one sentence to describe why you are here tonight, what would that sentence be?
Support. It is crucial that we support candidates who are going to make change. And I'm here tonight to say hello to people who may have never heard of me or the work I do. And so I would say, in one word, I would say support, just to support one another in these very abnormal times we're living in.
Okay. I think that was one sentence. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I should have said, yeah, support. I should have said one sentence. I use one word. I'm not like other politicians. I don't need all those words to avoid your question.
It's fine. I was just playing with you. So I'm going to send it over to Joni to get started on our first category of questions. Hey, Joni, take it away.
All right. So, Joanna, as far as economic development goes, you've emphasized lowering utility bills and holding corporations accountable for unfair pricing. How would you work in Lansing to ensure that downriver families aren't squeezed by rising costs while big companies report record profits?
Yeah, this is the number one thing. I mean, all over the Democratic Party, which I'm a part of, the big word right now is affordability, right? It is everywhere. Mamdani paved the path for many of us in this. But it is a reality. But my approach is going to be fighting corporate behavior. The way that corporations are behaving right now is far more predatory than I think most people want to admit. So we have many corporations, as you said, are posting record profits while the median income in, let's just say, one of the cities in my district, Melvindale, the median income is $24,000 a year. And many people are working multiple jobs just to make that income. I personally work 4 jobs to make ends meet. And I'm running a campaign. I work 4 jobs. And I can't save money. And that's the reality we have right now, is right now we have many of these companies we work for day in and day out. Our cashier at the grocery store is working there and working at Taco Bell, right? They're working these jobs while the CEOs of these companies are floating on their yachts, while we are driving between jobs to try and just decide what bill not to pay. So what I'm going to be doing in Lansing is one, I'm not taking a dime of corporate money, because I'm not going to invite any corporation into my office that doesn't want to actually solve this problem. And the other thing is that I'm going to be really tough on corporations. I think we have to really address corporate loopholes in taxation. I think we need to move those loopholes to the middle and lower class rather than our corporations who can afford. They can afford it. They can afford to put their buildings in these places, right? They just might have to, I don't know, go on one less vacation a year for all their executives, right? So these are things that be really tough on corporations. I will never vote to give a corporation a tax incentive. These are the things that I'm going to be focused on. And just really making sure that we are addressing pay. Because if we have big companies in our district who are, paying people as low as they possibly can while posting these record profits, and all of a sudden, the right is going to be angry because people need to get on food assistance. Well, if companies would just behave and pay their employees, we wouldn't have to do all these things. And so, my biggest thing is I'm going to be very tough on these corporations, and also, they're going to want to knock on my door, but you better believe I'm going to be knocking on theirs. And I'm going to be showing up at at these executive suites and asking some very big questions and putting some pressure in a more proactive sense from Lansing.
Awesome. Hold on, I hear an echo. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, someone in the comments said they couldn't hear me. Okay, so moving on, job training and workforce development are key pieces of your platform. What specific programs or partnerships would you champion to help residents in Allen Park, Lincoln Park, Melvindale, and Southgate gain better paying, future-ready jobs?
Yeah, we have to strengthen access to school without going bankrupt is one thing. We need to figure out how to expand access of our community colleges, of our universities, offering more programs that are affordable, that people can get plugged in asynchronous formats as well, because a lot of people like I had to do my whole master's and finish my bachelor's asynchronous, right? So we have kids, we have jobs, we have to work those 3 jobs. It's hard to actually get to school. So those are something that we need to make sure that our universities are focused on. And also, we need better out of high school training, because there's some folks that, it just isn't reality to go back to college. Maybe they're working that job at the local grocery store and they're like, I want to do better. I want to get a different job. I want to do this thing I've always wanted to do. We have to have good trade programs for people. So it is going to be attracting trade training into our district as well. Because also transportation is a problem for folks who may not be able to afford to drive to a different city. So this is one thing I'm going to be focused on, is making sure we're attracting these types of trade programs into our district, but also expanding asynchronous learning for people. And also, finding the companies in our state that do have good hiring practices and good pay practices, and attracting them into our district, and working with them to create more of those job opportunities for those in our district that need that help and could do those jobs.
And of this subject, job training and workforce development are key pieces of your platform. What did I already ask this? No,
Yeah, I think you just did. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Moving on to Ayana, I'm sorry. It was on their turn.
Oh no, that's my bad. That's my bad. When I was putting the questions together, I accidentally pasted one question twice.
I think it's important to also say, I'll just add one little footnote here, is we've got to be really, another thing coming back to corporate behavior when it comes to higher paying, better paying jobs, is we have to fight these corporations that are trying to fight unions. If employees want to unionize because they don't feel they're being paid fairly, we need to protect those rights of our workers to unionize. And these companies can afford it. They just don't want to afford it. So again, being tough on the corporations when it comes to fair pay practices.
And Michigan obviously is a state that has a lot of industries where workers unionize. The auto industry, for instance, the shipping industry. I lived in Michigan for a whole year. I lived in Ypsilanti.
Oh, that's where I went to undergrad. Why'd you leave us, Ayana?
I had to come back home. I had had a baby and I had to come back home. I needed help. Help. That baby is now 21 years old. But Michigan reminded me of Ohio. So I miss it, but it's like, if I go to Michigan, it'll be like going back to Ohio. And I also lived in Indiana for 4 years. So it's like, I can't escape. If I ever move again, I'll have to escape from the Midwest. Yeah, but I loved it. I love it there. My best friend lives in Troy. So I love it there. But going on to healthcare and women's health specifically, you've talked about the need for affordable, high quality healthcare. What steps would you take in the legislature to stop insurance companies from denying or delaying coverage for downriver families?
Oh, this is one of the number one things I deal with working in clinical spaces. Now, I don't obviously I am a spiritual care provider inside of these hospitals. So what happens is a lot of times I'm sitting with patients and families who want to aggressively fight something, right? Somebody gets a cancer diagnosis and it's been denied. And they have to make the decision, am I going to fight to live and empty my savings account, or do I leave my family with something, right? And I, in my job, have to help people through those decisions. And that happens almost every day when I'm working in emergency departments, working in ICUs. I have to help people make those decisions in our hospitals, and it's heartbreaking. And we should never have to make that decision. I believe healthcare is a human right, and every human being should have access to healthcare. I am a proponent of Medicare for all. Dr. Abdul El Sayed, who's running for Senate here in the state of Michigan, is a very vocal candidate for Medicare for all. I would absolutely support that. If the federal level can get their act together and make it happen, right? If we can figure out how to do it. But I also, if the federal level won't act, Representative Carrie Reinigans has floated the idea of my care. It's a Michigan option. It's a Michigan Medicare for all proposal, a bill, legislation that she is crafting. This is something that I would support full-heartedly, because we are already paying for healthcare. You know, like for those who have healthcare through your employer, right? You are paying for it. And many people worry about, can I afford it? I don't want more taxes. Imagine paying a little bit less and have it always be guaranteed. And so that's what I mean by affordable. Like, we can afford this. We afford this through our taxes. And this can be something we can do. The greatest example I keep hearing is, and this comes from Abdul El Sayed, but this idea of, if you have Netflix and you're paying for it every month, imagine getting to the finale and the doctor or the actor just said, guess what? I don't have a contract anymore, so you have to pay me to see the last episode. That is just crazy. This healthcare system we have is just totally, it's trash. And we need leaders who are going to be willing to say, you know what? We're going to do the thing we know is right, that healthcare is a human right. And so I'm going to fight for that each and every day. And it's going to be messy, and the insurance companies are not going to like me, and the hospital systems are not going to like me. But that's okay. I sleep fine. I sleep just fine without them liking me at night.
So you've mentioned that you work in spiritual care, and I would love for you to describe that. And you've seen how firsthand healthcare gaps affect real people. How does this affect the work that you do in the hospitals that you serve?
Yeah. So I work in three different kinds of areas. I work in hospice. I work in talking about Medicare dollars are going to Medicare and Medicaid dollars are going to hospice care. I work in the emergency departments in our local hospital, and I work in ICU departments. I see that, as I said, I kind of see this all the time. I see families who have to make decisions every day to say, I just got the most heartbreaking example I can give is I was working at the University of Michigan in my residency, and I just remember this woman tearfully saying, I could fight this. I have the money to fight this, but my insurance denied the care. And I will have to empty everything in my bank account. But if I just let myself die, I will leave all that money for my child. And these are the decisions some people hear spiritual care, the technical term for my job is a chaplain. Some people hear that and they think, oh, it's just religious, pray, sign of the cross, be on your way. It's much deeper than that, because people, I don't know about you, but I'm afraid of getting sick. Like, I will sit at home and suffer before I go to the hospital if I'm not feeling well. Because of why? the bill. I'm afraid of the bill. I'm not afraid of the hospital. I'm afraid of the bill that's going to show up, right? And so I have to help people with these decisions each and every day that are more existential, saying, okay, well, like my legacy, I have nothing to leave if I fight this illness. And that is a human rights atrocity. It's something that is on fire in our society, and we've got to get it right. So many nations have gotten this right. Why can't we? I don't understand it. So I have to help people deal with that injustice every day in emergency departments when they were just going to the family party and the car rolled over. And now everything has changed, right? They're already dealing with everything in my life has changed now because of this accident. And now everything is going to change because I can't afford to care for myself anymore. These are the things that I have to deal with each and every day in my role.
Do you, when you look at the state of Michigan, like the general attitude of people, do you feel like the state of Michigan is ready for a Medicare for all type of plan? Do you feel like politically you could get this accomplished along with other people in your party at the state level?
Yeah, I think if we can get the trifecta, if we can get the governor, the state, and the House and the Senate, there is a shifting wind in Democratic politics in the state of Michigan. And I think nationwide there is a huge shift towards kind of abandoning this idea of centrist Democrats. The general idea, and it's crazy, you know, like the progressive policy right now and the progressive leaning is towards Medicare for all. It is towards moving these things forward. And I think that if we can get the trifecta, if we can fill our seats with Democratic leaders and strong progressives, yes, we can. And I think what's going to happen is when that happens, we're going to find that those who may have been skeptical and have had all of the fear mongering happening on a certain news network, I'm going to use big air quotes for that, big on a news network, they're going to wait, right? They're going to wait for years and years and years. How long do you wait to see your doctor now? How long do you wait to see a new therapist now? It's going to be no different, but this time there's going to be there's going to be less existential crisis when you get sick and you need the care. I think that once this becomes implemented, I think that those who have been skeptical and scared into not believing it will see that it works and see that it works for them and their family. And they will feel that, oh, wow, okay, I've wanted to pursue that kind of thing, that dream, right? But I can't leave this job because of why? Because I have insurance. I can't not have insurance. But so maybe we're going to actually see happier constituents and people who are moving towards things they actually want to do in life rather than being stuck to something they have to keep. My mother, God bless her, she has this job. Hopefully your boss isn't listening, that she hates. She hates this job. And she tells me every day how much she hates her job. And I'm like, Mom, retire. Just be done, Mom. Be done with it. She says, no, I need the insurance. And that right there impedes our ability to experience life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we've got to figure this out. And I think that people, once they see it, they will be convinced.
And that might attract more people to living in the state of Michigan. I mean, we have 50 states, right? And I'm finding that people, the Medicaid and the different health insurance plans varies by state. Like my best friend lives in Michigan and she's on Medicaid, but she also has private health insurance. And the way she receives it and her level of care is different than how I am in the state of Ohio. And I'm thinking it should not be this way. Right. It shouldn't be, well, I live in Michigan, so I receive this. You live in Ohio, you receive this. And so everyone's getting something different. And some of us aren't getting anything.
Right. Best case scenario is that at the federal level, we figure this out. At the federal level, because it will be way more effective at the federal level. We have to understand that. And so if the federal government figures out how to do this, then a state version we don't need it, right? Then we can we'll figure out what to do right from there. But yeah, it should be a uniform, and it shouldn't be, okay, well, I live across the street I live in Toledo and I live in Monroe, and this person has to choose between life and death, and this one is fine because of their health care. It really shouldn't be that way. But if the federal government won't act, then we need to act at the state level.
Correct. All right. Now I'm going to ask you some rapid fire political questions.
Uh-oh. Okay.
I feel like we should have some rapid fire music for some reason,
Good.
but
put that in your feedback for
okay. One word. What is the biggest threat to democracy right now?
Oh gosh. Christian nationalism. That's 2 words, but hyphenate it.
There you go, breaking rules again.
I know.
All right. Quick choice. People or corporations, who should pay more in taxes?
Oh, corporations.
Now finish this sentence. In my first 100 days, I will
focus on the things my people are asking for.
Okay. What's one policy you regret supporting?
Oh, wow. Okay.
They call this an accountability check.
Well, okay. Yes. So, I mean, I will straight up say this. I mean, before I was a bleeding heart progressive, I was a conservative Christian nationalist, right? And so I would say that I definitely regret supporting any of the right to life things when I was younger. Now that I see the other side of things, and I've kind of I've learned and I've evolved. It breaks my heart that I contributed to those things in the past and championed those things.
Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Who's the last person you met with to discuss your campaign strategy?
My campaign manager.
Oh, I thought you were going to say your mom.
Oh no, my mom. Oh, yeah.
Does she have ideas?
Don't do it. Yeah. No, she's super awesome and supportive. Yeah.
Okay. Name 3 things you'd cut from the federal budget. Well, you know what? Let me rephrase that. Name 3 things you'd cut from the state budget.
Ooh, okay. I would cut militarization of our police departments. I'm not saying, I want this to be really clear. I'm not saying defund the police. That's not what I'm saying. But we need to like ramp down the militarization of our police. I would say that was it lower the funds? Well, repeat the question for me.
Just cut altogether. Cut from the state budget.
Oh my. These are great questions. Oh my gosh, this is really hard.
Well, if you can only think of one thing, that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean, I know Michigan, the governor is well loved in Michigan, so maybe she's doing everything right.
Yeah, I think we also need to cut subsidies that we're giving to our utility companies. Like DTE does not need to be subsidized. Our water utilities, I would cut a lot of their funding. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Right. 3.
And finally, if you had 30 seconds to convince a skeptical voter to vote for you, what would you say?
Let's say, listen, I understand that we may not agree on things fully, but here's what you're going to get from me as opposed to any other candidate is that I'm going to show up when it all hits the fan. And here's my phone number. You can call me anytime, and I don't care if you vote for me ever again. I'll be there.
All right. Okay, I'm going to send it over to Joni for our next round of questions.
I thought you were about to ask for me to give out my number or something.
No, the last 4 of your social, your pins. No, nothing like that.
What's that, a CVV code? So as far as public education goes, many downriver families rely on strong public schools to give their children a fair start, of course. But what policies would you support to ensure schools in the communities like Allen Park and Lincoln Park have the funding and resources they need to succeed?
Yeah, I work really closely with a group that's called the Downriver Schools Coalition here, and it's a group of teachers and administrators from all the different school districts. I sit in all their meetings. I sit with them and just listen and learn from them. The number one thing that I would support, and I'm asking people in the state of Michigan, is to support the Invest in My Kids initiative that they're trying to get on the ballot. What it is a 5% surcharge of anyone who makes $500,000 or more a year, or it's $100,000 or it makes $1 million filing jointly. There's a 5% surcharge on your taxes that goes to fund our schools. This is the number one thing we have to ask people who are living in that abundance, right? Who are living in that overabundance. We can't ask the constituents of Meldondale to pay a 5% surcharge. We just can't. But if you're filing jointly, making $100,000 or $500,000 to $1 million a year, anyone on the call making that? I'm not. Okay, I don't make that kind of money. Like, you can afford, and really many people will say, well, if we do really want to think of the children, this is something we have to do. We have to think of our children and educating our children. So that's the number one thing that I would be really focused on making sure happen is our tax structures. Another thing that would be different that I would advocate for in the State House would be to actually pass laws of multiple year funding so that we're not at the drawing board every year. I'm talking like budgets that can go 4 years, so that schools are not completely at the drawing board every year wondering where is our money coming from. I think that's something we have to start doing at our state level. There's many other things, and I'm sure we'll get to some more topics on education, but those are two things at least that I would be really focused on. So one is happening now, and one is something I would champion at when I'm elected.
Okay, that's awesome. So the second question, teachers are facing burnout, shortages, and growing responsibilities, of course, as always. How would you work to improve teacher pay, strengthen support staff, and create better working conditions in Michigan's public schools?
Yeah, all teachers in the state of Michigan should have their student loans forgiven. Straight up, full stop. You should be able to, it really should be treated like a public service. And I see the paychecks that some in our city governments and our state governments. We need to bring teacher pay up. And that's one of the reasons we need to have longer term budgets so that schools can budget their pay at higher rates. The things that our teachers do, I have 3 kids in our public schools, and I'm telling you, they deserve pay that is just insane. Like they really do. So we've got to figure that out. We've got to put these things in the budgets. And yes, this may mean we need to move some tax appropriation to the schools. But our teachers are a treasure and we have to support them. So that's the one thing that I would really be focused on, and making sure that our teachers' pay is going up.
Okay. Just earlier, can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit quiet.
Okay, I think it's because my mic is sitting down. Okay. Career pathways are becoming essential for students who may not choose a traditional college route. What would you do to expand access to career technical education, apprenticeships, and job training programs in the local schools?
Yeah, I think it could be very interesting. We need better internship programs within our school systems that can, partner with our school districts to say, hey, almost like in college, you have like a major, right? You could have an idea where you're like, okay, I'm thinking of going into the trades. I don't think college is for me. We're going to get you into an internship program. What are you interested in? So working with, if you want to become an electrical journeyman, like we need to have actually where you can be working on those things in school and get towards the requirements of those things while in school. So if you decide you're going to go into the skilled trades like that, we need you, because when the power goes out, I'm not climbing up that pole to fix that thing. You know what I'm saying? So like, but it would be great if we can equip our young people sooner to be able to earn better when they get out, or earn sooner, you know, rather than having to wait 10 years or whatever, however long it takes. If we can be starting to move them towards those credits now, I think that would be really helpful. So improving our internship programs, and also just opening more access to, I think we need to fund and build up our school counselors. Our school counselors are completely over, they're inundated, and to help students have guidance. Honestly, we need to seriously beef up the funding of our school counselors who can help students figure out what are the next steps and paths, so that they are not overwhelmed with all of these students, that they can't give students focus and attention, and be more proactive in helping our children rather than reactive.
And circling back to the second question about the loan forgiveness, do teachers, I know that like the public service loan forgiveness, you have to work in like a nonprofit or I guess a government agency for at least 10 years. Does that not apply to teachers, or
Boy, with the Trump administration, who knows anymore,
yeah,
right? It's hard.
that's
So the other end of it is there's a lot of loopholes, right? There's a lot of loopholes and weird little clauses that come into these loan forgiveness programs. I think what we need to do is just say, you know, if you have been employed by a school for X amount of, you know, if it, you know, 3 years, if you've been teaching our schools for this amount of time, like on this date, your loans are gone. Like there's automatically, if you are employed by a school, like for X amount of time, your student loans are forgiven. I think we just need to simplify the process. And those who might be worried about waste, fraud, and abuse, like this is where we just need competent leaders at the state level to be sure that these programs are not going to invite bad actors.
okay. Well, that's a good answer. Moving on to Ayana, unless anyone else in the comments has a question or wants to come up, now is your time. Otherwise, I'm going to hand it over to Ayana.
Thank you, Joni. I didn't see any questions in the comments, just a lot of people agreeing with you. A lot of claps and yes, I like that idea.
I knew I liked you all.
We love to see it. We love to see the support for the candidates and their platforms. And so I'm going to move on to public safety. You've talked about the importance of building trust between law enforcement and the community in your platform. What steps would you take to promote community-based policing and strengthen relationships in the neighborhoods you would serve?
Yeah, there's no better example of this happening right now than in the city of Melvindale, which is in our district. If you Google the city of Melvindale, some of the first things that are going to pop up are going to be some police abuses and really terrible things that have happened in that city. There have been people, minorities, who have been harmed by the police in really egregious ways. But what the city has been doing in the last, I would say 6 to 8 months, has been really working on, one, the public relations that the police department has. They brought in trauma-informed police officers, which I think is really important, because interactions with the police can be traumatizing, even if you've done nothing wrong, right? It can. How many of us been pulled over? Just me. Like you get that feeling like, oh my gosh, like my life's over. I'm going to prison for the rest of my life. Like, what did I do? You know, you get that feeling. Now, you know, imagine if you've been traumatized by the police in the past. what that's going to do is going to escalate us, which is why we sometimes see such difficulty between some of our communities and the police. I think one of the best things we're seeing in the city of Melvindale is, and what we need to see in all of our policing in the city, in the district, is better trauma informed practices. We need to teach our police officers trauma informed care, like how to deal with someone who might be escalated and traumatized by you, right? Not everything is a nail. We don't need to hit everything, right? We need to realize what we're seeing in the moment. And also, I think we need to really invest in, and another thing that's really great, 2 cities in my district are working. There's a mental health, company in our area that provides social workers to our area police departments. I think we need to invest serious police funding. All that funding I talked about that goes to militarizing our police, we need to actually reappropriate into bringing social workers who are actually in the police department, who are riding along with police officers. They're trained, they can protect themselves, but they are there to be social workers, to be the first point of contact when something is happening, right? And that is what we need to really invest in and think about when we talk about having better policing in our cities. And these things can de-escalate a lot of the violence and crime we see. Some of the things we see escalate when things are not dealt with trauma-informed care. And I think that's really something we need to invest in our police departments. And as I said, the city of Melvindale is doing some really great work in this. And I've been really proud to see the work that they've been doing. And I think we need to just make sure that is common practice.
And we do have a question in the chat about immigration, but I'm going to frame it this way, right? You're a proponent of community policing. Now, say you get community policing, your neighborhoods are, the relationship between the constituents and police is going very well. And then you have this law enforcement body coming into your state that you have no control over, right?
Yeah.
How do you ensure that your community, the communities you serve, the constituents you serve are protected while, you have to kind of walk a fine line between allowing the federal officers to do their job, but also protecting your constituents, but also letting police know, hey, if you see something going awry, maybe you guys need to do something about it. What do you see as the state's role in protecting people while also, I don't want to say obeying, but complying with the requirements of federal immigration laws?
Yeah, the reality of what we're seeing from the Trump administration in regards to ICE and immigration and how they are not picking up violent criminals. They're picking up your neighbor who's just picking something up from the store, right? They're picking up kids and deporting them. So one of the things that I'm really happy to know that all 4 cities in my district have all refused to sign the 280, I think it's the 287G, which is the agreement with ICE. I have spoke to every police chief and they have all assured me they will not be participating with ICE. It's a huge win for our district. But I think when you talk about community policing is, okay, if we built that relationship is one to say, let's say just, a very specific example. Let's say somebody's built a relationship with the police department. The police have come to the door and, brought over the cupcakes for the last 2 years, building that relationship with that community. Like, hey, are you following our Facebook page? Now that for old people, that's a social media, for young people, that's a social media app that old people are on, right? But, I'm old, so I can say that. I can make fun of myself. But what I believe what that would look like is to say the police department would say, just letting everyone know that, ICE is in the area, they have jurisdiction. Even if it's simple messaging, we'd have to work with the city lawyers on what you can and can't say, right? But I think it is just letting the community know, hey, there is activity, federal law enforcement activity in the area today. that will communicate a lot, right? That will communicate a lot. Now, unfortunately, people are afraid to go to the grocery store right now because they don't have that relationship with any of the police departments. They're afraid that any police car could be taking them off and whisking them off to another country they've never been to, right? So I think the community policing aspect is if you built that trust, it's not an overnight thing. It's years and years down the road of bringing the cupcakes to the family. Maybe cupcakes for every community, every house is too much money, and we would probably need to think about different appropriations for that. We can put a cupcake provision within the state budget, maybe. But what I'm saying is that we make sure that our police departments have built those relationships where they can simply communicate, hey, there's federal, just letting the city know there's federal law enforcement in the area today. And those things will help with, even the existential threats of saying, okay, well, like, thank you to the police for letting me know that. I think that that's really important. And, I won't out any of our police officers or chiefs, but they're not happy about ICE activity. And there has been ICE activity inside of our district. And from the state level, we need to get tough on the Trump administration, which is why we need a tough governor, and we need all of our elected officials to be tough and say no.
And I'll just say one of the reasons I love the state of Michigan is because, like Ohio, the richness of the culture, the different cultures and ethnic groups is present there. Like as soon as you arrive in Michigan, you see it. It's wonderful. I love it. And what I've been seeing lately in, say, the Dearborn area has been very disheartening. And I don't know what they can do at the state level because free speech, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, people are fearful. Like you said, people are fearful of going out to buy a coffee or sending their kids to school.
Yeah.
Are they going to come back? Are they going to be harassed? Are they going to be maligned? It's a bunch of different stuff we're having to think about now that maybe we didn't have to think about a year ago. Maybe we did, but maybe now it's increased.
And what the Trump administration has done is given a specific party and people who follow him permission to mimic and repeat these things, right? And so we are seeing at the state level, state representatives and state senators acting like what they're seeing in Washington. And so we've got to, that's why it's really important that we get leaders who are focused on human rights in these positions of power.
All right, we do have a question from an audience member. Hello, Melanie.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Joanna. How are you doing today?
I'm good.
All right. I came up to ask you because you were speaking a lot about the social workers becoming a part of the police force. So my question to you is, what are your feelings on this administration deprofessionalizing those fields? It may make that transition that you want a little harder.
Yeah, I mean, just absolutely bonkers. I mean, bonkers. My feelings is that then let's pass something at the state level to reprofessionalize them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, the things that this administration is doing just do not make sense. Like, why would we do this? But it's about pay. It's because they want to be able to pay people less is really at the end of the day what's going on here. And so I would say that we're going to have to just, if the federal government isn't going to do it, then we're going to do it at the state level. Then we're going to protect them. We're going to protect their status as professionals, which is just, every day is just another wave of chaos from the Trump administration. So we need to just build a state that can withstand the winds of this stuff.
Absolutely. One more question.
Yeah.
Your current governor, Ms. Gretchen Whitmer, how do you feel she's tackled public safety? And do you think there's more she could possibly do?
Yeah, I think that what's interesting is that, even in the city of Detroit, our crime statistics have been moving in a positive direction, but the perception is not there. I talk to people in Lincoln Park all the time who say, I hear gunshots, right? We hear that over and over again. It's always a challenge and a balance in the Democratic Party, because I think that we've kind of unfairly gotten the perception that we don't like the police, right? We don't like public safety for some reason. And I think that we do need to equip our police departments a little bit better. As I said, and I think that doing some of that preventative work will help with some of the crime prevention. And yeah, I definitely think we should be funding our police departments very differently. And that comes from the top.
Thank you so much for answering my questions. Thank you, ladies, for having me up.
Thank you, Mel.
I'll be watching the show.
Thank you. And someone in Michi in the comments wanted to clarify. So, like supplemental grants for professional degrees.
Yeah.
At the state level.
Oh, so like, what do you think we should have them do? Yeah. 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 And that's the thing, right? Like the federal government is just creating so much unnecessary chaos at every level for no reason. And if they're not going to, what we need to do is, if we're going to integrate social workers into our police departments, then we're going to pay them at the professional wages. That's just the reality of what we have to do. So I think it's more of an appropriation thing rather than like, you don't have to apply for something. It's like, no, your job is going to be paid at a professional level, because at this stage, like here in the state police department, or, no, we pay at this level for this. And, but making sure that the funding is there for these police departments to hire them, is going to be key.
All right, Joni, take it away on environment and infrastructure.
Okay. So, water quality issues, they've been a major concern in parts of Melvindale and other downriver communities. What specific measures would you support to modernize water systems and guarantee clean, safe drinking water for every household?
Yeah, this is another corporate behavior problem. Melvindale and Lincoln Park sit in the shadow of the Marathon refinery. If you've ever been to Michigan, if you've ever been to Detroit, when you first enter Detroit, you see a big basketball. It looks like a big basketball. And then you get the stench of every single factory in the entire area, that it just seems like the clouds all come into the front of your car and you smell it. This is what our residents are smelling each and every day. This is what they're breathing in each and every day. So one, air quality is a huge problem. And just next door to us, right next to our district, is a city called Wyandotte. And they are right now in a battle with a company called BASF, who has been contaminating the groundwater for close to 50 years now and has gotten away with it. And has just released in an Eagle did a study, which is, our environmental folks here in Michigan, they did this study and found that the drinking water has likely been contaminated for the last 50 years. And the problem is that everyone's trying to point the blame of who's to blame. Well, the thing is that I don't care who's to blame. Like right now, we have people who are struggling to get their water that is clean, right? So we do need to make sure, one, we need better testing. We need to test more frequently at the municipal levels. And we need to shut water systems and divert water systems that are going through contaminated areas, which is going to create some serious investment in infrastructure. GLWA, which is one of our water, utilities here, is kind of notorious for charging more and more and more and not fixing things, right? And so we've got to, again, get tough on these. We need better environmental regulation when it comes to places like Marathon, who are refining oil, and Lord knows what's getting into the Ecorse River. We have just extremely contaminated water, and we're going to have to invest in cleaning this water and really being tough on their pollution. So I think it's going to take the thing that makes these companies think twice is finances. So what we need to do at the state level is hit them hard. We need no more slaps on the wrist. Like, you know what? If you don't bring this air pollution or this water pollution down within 1 year, you're going to get hit hard. And it's not going to feel good. And you can bring as many lawyers as you want. We'll bring more. And we're going to fight you. And so each and every day, our residents know that someone's trying to fix this problem. This is not again, sadly, not a problem we can fix overnight. It's going to take a huge infrastructure investment to fix some of the issues we have and to clean the rivers we have. But it's just because a lot of our politicians have taken the money from Marathon, who says, hey, just look the other way. There's been no one representing my district who has been willing to look at them and be tough on them and work with the environmental lobby to fix these problems. We're testing our water and we're testing our air from so far away. The standards of testing air in a specific area is such a wide range. You know, hey, Marathon's doing great, but the thing that's testing the air is like 10 miles away. Like, we need to fix these things. We need to fix these regulations. And so those are things I'll be focused on. Yeah. That is a really good question in there. Really good question.
You go ahead and answer that question.
Yeah. How can I use my past experience in conservative politics to work across the aisle? Yeah. I think one thing is you probably hear a tone from me that I'm not going to be easy on corporations, which many of my friends in the conservative, they believe in trickle down economics, right? So what I have to do is, one, speak fluent Republican, which I do, right? Which is economics. If I can bring the economic conversation in, but also speak in a way where I can advocate for the things that are right without putting down. And I think that's something that we have had inside of our politics, is like, I'm right, and I'm going to make you feel like the lowest piece of crap in making my point. And I think what we can do is I can't believe I'm going to use it. We're going to like lovingly bring people in, right? That's like the churchy term. Like, we're just going to love them in. Like, yeah, listen, Rep Wolford and I, who's in the Michigan House, I very, very, very much do not like his politics, but I believe that we can find ways to speak one another's language and hear one another without, being absolute jerks to each other. So that's one way I speak very fluent Republican, trickle down Republican, trickle down Democratic politics is what I'll use, I guess.
That's a good idea. So moving back to environment questions, many residents feel the impact of aging roads. Sorry, I'm probably low. They feel the impact of aging roads and infrastructure every day, obviously. So, what would you do to secure state funding to repair the streets, improve drainage, and upgrade outdated public works in District 2?
Yeah. The first thing we have to do is fix what's called the Act 51 funding in the state of Michigan. Act 51, passed in 1951, they created a formula for how to fund roads, but it was built on what was called the Midland Principle, which, if you've ever been to Midland, Michigan, there's nothing there. There's nothing there, right? So what happens is that the same road, for 100 feet of road to fix in Midland, you're getting the same funding in Midland as you are in Lincoln Park, which the traffic volume is astronomically higher. There's heavier vehicles. There's more vehicles. If you go to a residential road in the city of Lincoln Park, a lot of them are just completely demolished. Like some of them are like dirt roads. They are so broken apart. You have to. It's like you're driving over like you're driving like in idle over these roads sometimes. So we have to fix the Act 51 funding. And same thing. Like there are certain things that we sometimes divert our money to, like in the militarization of police. If it comes to certain projects that have been built towards militarization of National Guard types of money and things like that. We need to be diverting the funds to the places that need it the most. So for example, like my state rep the other day drove me a little crazy. He secured millions and millions and millions of dollars for a fire truck and a renovation of a fire department. That's cute. But I've never once heard anyone in my district ask for that. I've heard them ask if they can fix the roads. Right? And so like we have to make sure our state reps and our representatives in general know what the people are asking for. So when the opportunity for extra funding comes, we know where to put those funds. And I think that's another important thing is it takes a representative who is actually focused and listening to the people to make sure that the funds that are coming to your district are going to the right places. So fixing Act 51, like passing new legislation and measures for how we fund our roads has to be completely overhauled because it's not 1951 anymore. We have a lot more vehicles on the road and they're heavier, and we also need to probably address our heavy use vehicle tax. So all the big trucks, and if you come to Detroit, there's trucks everywhere. That's just what we are. We're the Motor City. We can't avoid that. We won't avoid that. We're proud of that. But what that does is brings a lot of semis, bringing a lot of heavy things into our roads, and they're ripping up our roads. So any vehicle that's entering the state of Michigan needs to be, we need to make sure our heavy use tax is in effect, and we need to open our weight stations. You drive by weight stations in our state, and a lot of times they're closed and they're not doing anything. So we need to reinforce those things.
Hey, Joni, can you move on to the rapid fire, the next round of rapid fire? We got like 19 minutes left or so.
Absolutely. Okay, so some fun questions. Rapid fire. Detroit or Ann Arbor?
Oh gosh. I worked in Ann Arbor, but I'm going to go with Detroit because I love downtown.
Okay. Better lake for a summer day. Would you say Lake Michigan or is it Huron? Huron?
Oh. I love Lake Michigan. It's so beautiful over there. Yes, Lake Michigan.
Cool. Better made chips or Faygo?
Oh, wow, that's a tough one. I'm going to go Better Made, but like the hot ones. You know what I'm talking about? Like the hot Better Mades. They're so good.
I do not, but I am familiar with Faygo. That's the soda, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Go to stadium food at a Lions game. So what are your favorite concession stand foods?
Oh. I have a wild confession. I've lived in Michigan most of my life. I have never been to a Lions game. Ever. I know. It's because I can afford it, okay? We got to get the cost of living. I've never been. But I would say anytime I'm at a stadium, those crappy nachos with like the cheese that comes out of a bag. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Prime time. Yes.
So one word to describe a Michigan winter.
Ugh. I hate it. I'm so cold. Look, this is what I have next to me at all times. Is this space heater? It's off right now. You're welcome, everyone.
I don't blame you. Favorite Motown artist?
Oh gosh. I mean, I gotta go with like Aretha. Yeah.
Okay. Up or Lower Peninsula for a weekend getaway? Or UP or I'm sorry, UP or Lower?
Now, first of all, Joni, I know you're from Texas, okay? You see my fingers? I know you're from Texas. This is the state of Michigan, Joni, okay?
Right.
Listen, I've only been to southern states, okay?
Yeah.
I know your state is shaped like a panhandle. Isn't that what they call Texas, the pan, or is that Oklahoma?
That's Oklahoma. Yeah.
Oh, well, see, there I go.
I mean, I do love a good, oh gosh, Mackinac Island is so cool. I do like the Upper Peninsula, but I don't go very far because there's nothing up there, and I don't like camping. So, yeah, I wasn't made for a rural district.
Coney dog topping. Do you like mustard or chili?
Oh, wait, I have to pick only one of those?
I mean, not really.
I want both, and I want onions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michigan sports loyalty check. And bear with me because I don't know either one of these. Wolverines or Spartans?
Oh, Wolverines.
Okay. Ayana, what do you think of that?
I think both of those teams can suck it. I went to Notre Dame and I live in Ohio. I'm inundated with Ohio State. I cannot stand Ohio State. In Michigan, I only like because my son loves them because he was born at that hospital. But I am fighting Irish forever. Okay. Thank you very much.
My grandpa went there, so I can appreciate a good Notre Dame.
Oh, okay. Well, see? All right. We have 15 minutes left. Let's see. These questions are going to be about constituency and local issues. Now, a key part of your platform is making government work for everyday people rather than special interests. What steps would you take to increase transparency, accessibility, and accountability for your constituents?
Yeah. Availability. I think that this is the number one thing that my district has been missing for a long, long time, is the availability and access to their leaders. And so, one of the key things I want to do is we need to be listening. I think a lot of times politicians love to yap and they love to talk and they love to hear the talking points come out of their mouths, but I lead very differently. When I do town halls and I do coffee hours, I would say I might be talking 20% of the time. And that's by design. I'm not speaking because I don't have anything to say. As you've heard tonight, I have plenty to say. But I think what we're missing in our public leaders is listening. And I think what we need to do is actually increase the opportunities where people can speak. I think a lot of people, they just, they don't know where to go. And sometimes public leaders can get really annoyed by people commenting on social media, right? They're like, people, they get all bent out of shape because people are complaining on social media. My question is, anytime I hear that is, when's the last time you held a town hall or a coffee hour to listen? That's something that my team will do very differently. I'm going to be running an insane amount of listening sessions, coffee hours. I will be office houring in our local coffee shops regularly to listen to people. Say, hey, if somebody calls our constituent service, like, I need to talk to, I need to have this problem. go to City Coffee House at 7 p.m. the next 2 nights. Joanna will be there. You can go talk to her, right? Like, and obviously she'll call you too if you would like, but if you want to go talk face to face. I think that's something that we just don't have in our current leaders, and we just need to listen. We need to think and listen, and we're just not doing that. And that's what we need in our leaders now.
I think one of the issues politicians have is that they're satisfied with winning when they win. And when they get to wherever they're going to, the State House, the Capitol building, the White House, wherever, they start focusing on their donors. And they forget about the constituents, the people who helped get them elected. Especially for grassroots candidates, they immediately start turning towards fundraising from corporations, and they forget about the little people, the small money donors who help to get them where they are at. How do you plan on maintaining your grassroots focus if you win the primary and the election?
Yeah. Here's where I'm really happy that this is my first run for office, is that I never, ever, ever want to take corporate money. Ever. I think that is one of the things that's going to matter to actually being accountable to the residents here, because how dare I, with any level of integrity, say, I'm going to fight for you, residents of Melvindale who are struggling with asthma because of the air quality. I'm going to fight for you, but also I'm about to take like a $10,000 check from them. Like, that's why I'm really thankful that this is my first run to make the decision that I never in my political career will ever take take corporate money. So that I think is really important, is that that you're accountable to people. And I think that also gets back to the accessibility and presence, is that I could get elected and just, what do I just ride off into the sunset and never talk to anyone again? That's not a good way. That's not good leadership. And I think what needs to happen is, and I think actually our Congresswoman Debbie Dingell here in Michigan has been really a great example for many of us that I think many need to learn from. She's elected. She doesn't have anything to prove right now, right? But she's there. She shows up at everything that is big in our city, right? And I think that that's what we need in our leaders. That's what I want to do as the elected leader, and say, you know what? You're hosting this fundraiser for cancer. I'm going to be there. Yeah, no, I'm not there to campaign. I'm just there to be there, so that when I'm in the room, the residents of Allen Park can talk to me, right? They can come to me and be like, hey, I have a question for you. And so when they go to the Christmas dinner and Uncle Tom is going off about the crazy liberals, like, you can say, oh my gosh, Uncle Tom, I actually talked with the state rep. That's not what she said, right? I actually voiced this to the state rep, and I know this here. I have her phone number, right? I think that is going to be really important, and that's how I want to lead.
All right, I like that. So in these final minutes, Joni and I are going to ask you just a few more questions. And one of the first questions is, what sets you apart from other candidates running in your primary?
Yeah. There's a few things that do. I would say the one thing that is probably, there's two major things that set me apart. Is one, my presence in the community. It could be bingo with 3 people in a library. I'm showing up. I'm there. I'm in the community. I'm helping. I'm volunteering at things. This is one thing that I have not seen from my opponents. It is just presence and willingness to roll up my sleeves and do things and help out. We ran when SNAP benefits got shut off around the country, and we didn't know. We had residents that were going to starve. So Our campaign, we rolled up our sleeves and we fed 71 people in our district and raised over $11,000 just to feed people for Thanksgiving. That's one, no, none of the other campaigns did that. And we didn't do that to be like, look at us. We're like, but it was just because it was a need. And we did that. The other one is that I am like the people of my district. My primary opponents put in $54,000 of their own money into their campaign accounts. That's more than I made in my annual salary last year. I put in like $100 of my own money because that's all I could afford. I live paycheck to paycheck, just like the people of my district. And I think that makes me much more, I think that sets me apart from the people I'm running against in my district. Even the guy on the Republican side has deep pockets. But I'm like my neighbor who wonders, am I going to be able to have enough food for my kids this weekend? Can I pay that bill this month? How long can I go until they shut it off, right? Like, these are the decisions I make. And I think that it's important that I understand and that we have people representing who understand those struggles, like each and every person in our district.
And I agree. Over to you, Joni, for our final question.
All right, Joanna. So, if elected, what is the first issue that you would prioritize on day one in Lansing, and why is that the most urgent need for people in District 2?
Yeah, I think the first thing I'm going to address is our utility bills in our district. Right now, our water bills in our district have gone through the roof. They are so high that people are showing up each and every week at city council meetings asking what's going on. We have an issue where in the city of Lincoln Park, we lose 44% of all the water that comes from the main lines to leakage in our infrastructure. And they're charging us for that. So I think the first thing I'm going to be focused on is getting Great Lakes Water Authority to fix the problems and do it on their dime. They're not going to raise our bills a single cent to fix this problem, because I sat in a board meeting where they gave all the executives raises and I about lost it. That's the first thing I'm going to be focused on, is getting our utility bills lowered with our water and electrical utility prices.
I think that's great for everyone. I think a lot of people could get behind that.
Yeah.
I agree. And Joanna, thank you so much for joining us this evening. In the final minutes, if you could tell the people how to support your campaign and where they can find you online or in person.
Yeah, you can follow me right here on TikTok, Joanna Whaley Official. All of my accounts are Joanna Whaley Official. Is that where it is on everyone's screen?
Yes.
Yeah, go to Joanna Whaley Official. Right now we are in an all-out fundraising mode, so there is a link in my profile. You can go and donate to the campaign. You can also go to joannawhaley.com/team if you want to volunteer. It doesn't matter where you are in the country. We have people from all over the U.S. volunteering with our campaign. You can be a part of it, and we would love to have you part of that. But the best thing you could do right now is to follow my social media accounts. And from there, you're going to get a lot of information about how to take the next steps into being involved with the campaign. And if you know anybody in the 4 cities we talked about, Allen Park, Lincoln Park, Melvindale, and Southgate, follow my social media. That's the biggest thing you can do. Follow my socials and share and just tell them about me and spread the word. These are the biggest things you can do. Please. Your support goes a long way. We've got to raise a lot of money to overcome some of the name recognition of my opponents, and we're ready for it, though.
All right, that is wonderful. And again, follow Joanna here on TikTok, and you can link to all of her socials and her website from her TikTok. We thank you so very much for joining us this evening. We appreciate it. Everyone in the audience as well. If you are so inclined, everyone, we invite you, Joanna, and the audience to join us again tomorrow for a town hall doubleheader, another doubleheader featuring David Hughes, who is running for governor of Colorado. That's a big one. That will be at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Liam Schuyler, who is running for Pitt County, North Carolina, District 6 Commissioner at 8 p.m. Eastern. We also will be having a candidates roundtable on Sunday from 3 to 5. Joanna, if you want to join us, maybe give some of your input into the questions we'll have for the candidates. We would love to have you there. And again, thank you. Thank you again for joining us, and to the audience, thank you for participating, for everybody being so gracious and gifting our candidate and the panel and the account. We love having you all here. We love the job that we're doing. Remember, Our Vote Counts is here for you to help educate voters. We are a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity like Joanna, and ensure every voice is heard through education, outreach, accountability, and action. We're building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. Thank you for joining us. Remember, your vote is your power. Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.